Coach Ron Miller, winningest coach in NCAA history. Coach, what's the official tally now?
I think it's something like 1427 and a little over 700.
Now, Coach Lori Schiller of Northwestern is right on your heels. However, he'll be retiring this year.
That's right.
So it looks like you will continue your streak.
For at least a little while longer, yeah.
Any potential challengers that are current coaches?
That's a good question. I try not to keep track. It's not about the individual wins and losses or even the sum of them. It's about the kids growing and having a good time and learning to compete.
Now, UNC has a significant number of fencers competing here at the November NAC. How many fencers officially?
Well, actually only 6 that are here.
Okay.
We had a lot of others that were not here because of preparation for exams, finals, things of that nature, which are coming up really soon.
That's right. That's where I'm confusing it. Right. I think you had mentioned prior to the interview here that you had something like 25
people that could have qualified to come.
Exactly. Right. So that definitely speaks to the strength of your recruiting class and your, your lower classmen.
Right.
How are you feeling about kind of their potential to mature and improve as they increase through the ranks?
I think it's going to be a great team. We had some problems last couple of years with leadership, and the team had a cultural reset this fall, and it's been phenomenal. So everyone's helping everyone else. The attitudes are better. The work ethic is better. I really can't complain. It's one of the best. It will be one of the best teams I've ever had.
With such a long and successful history in the sport, you've seen many different
changes.
squads.
Yes.
Talking about the leadership challenge in the past, how do you then as a coach instill the type of environment that you want in your team?
I think the main thing is we try to have our staff and our captains set an example for the team, both in terms of work ethic and in terms of their, I guess you'd say, their ability to be good people. Make good decisions, do the work they're supposed to do, and still have time for everything else left over.
So outside of the many demands that the fencing itself has with the NAC schedule, NCAA schedule, right, World Cup schedule, are there additional activities such as like, social or community activities that you organize?
We have, I guess you'd call it a community outreach program that all of our sports at Carolina go through. We have a number of things that we do relative to leadership. We have a leadership program for our athletes, and there's a lot of responsibilities that they take on through that part. One of our foil captains, actually one of our foil fencers, is the head of our student athlete council that communicates directly with all of the athletic directors and decision makers at the university. So
pretty powerful link
they're busy.
there.
Yes, they're busy.
Now, to that point of leadership and kind of building again, something else you're very experienced in and clearly successful at is the recruiting component. Here at a NAC, what is it that you're looking for in potential future leaders for you? I'm
looking obviously at kids that have good skills, that have strong fundamentals, that aren't afraid of pressure situations, that they actually enjoy when things get tough. Because that's really what it's going to be about. When you're in the college environment, every bout, every meet is important, and you have to keep preparing yourself all day and sometimes over several days to give your best.
Especially in a 5-touch format.
Exactly.
Contrasting with, of course, a much longer bout here.
1 or 2 mistakes and it could be over. So actually I look more at the 5-touch bouts than I do at how far they go in the direct elimination. But I sort of look at it from the viewpoint that if I'm watching them fence DE, if it goes to the third period, it's like fencing 3 5-touch bouts. So in some ways, statistically, we even analyze that.
Talking about those statistics and focusing on the pool play, Coach Michael Offertstig of Columbia University actually also approaches his recruiting in a very similar way, focusing on the statistics of a student's success in those pools rather than the complete success in the 15 setting. Yep. What's your kind of perspective or opinion on that?
No, I agree with that. That's basically the same way we do it. Just the last 2 weekends, we fenced at the Temple Intercollegiate, and then we also at Penn State. We had some good results in terms of how they finished, but the most important thing was at Temple, we won 75% of our 5-touch bouts, or the equivalents. And then at Penn State, we still won over 60%. So if we can do that against the strongest competition, that bodes well for us on the season.
So how about off the strip and one's personality or potential character flaws that you try and identify to ensure that you do have strong leaders?
That's a very difficult thing to analyze, especially when you're only seeing them or meeting them in a short term. But you can tell how natural a person's smile is. You can tell how naturally enthusiastic they are, if they're a people person or if they're someone who's an introvert. Introverts generally don't work on our team because they're pretty much together and wide open. So it's much better when they're extroverts.
All right, Coach. What's one of the the greatest takeaways that you have from this November NAC? Something like you saw in either an individual competitor or any one weapon where the field was especially challenging?
It's a tough question because there have been so many good things that I have seen. Really, the only negative thing is the computer system's not staying up to date. It's been very difficult to keep track of people. And this is something that you take for granted now in all competitions. And the last couple of days, they just had trouble with it. And we have to go back the way we used to do it. So it's not really that big a deal.
The paper bout sheets,
right.
Talking.
But, and obviously in an NAC, you've got people at both ends of the room, which is what I'm doing right now. One in the finals and one down on the other end in the first round. So it's hard to keep track of them.
And as far as your own students, of the 6 athletes you have competing here, who stood out most in their either performance or their actual result?
Actually, probably 2 athletes. Connor Ritchie, who's doing exceptionally well right now in top 4 in saber. And then we have a freshman, Jason Chu, who is an épée fencer, and he finished in the top 22, I think. But the épée field is especially hard, and he lost like 2 bouts all day, so can't complain with that.
Not at all. Well,
both freshmen.
Great to hear you have some real strong positives to return to California or Carolina with.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time. Best of luck.
You're welcome.